So
Move.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Petola,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks,
Support.
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
I'm gonna start with Councilwoman Waterman.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's about 2 or 3 changes that I had to the proposed that I put in. I mistakenly put in the wrong numbers. So as it relates to City Council, it should have been 278,350 for our total. And I think I had 217 plus the 55 for them. So it should have been 278,350 plus the new position of 55 would bring us a total of 333, 350, I guess, and then whatever the 3% increase would be, if that's okay with council members. Also, as it relates to 101, 301, 818, 068, Sheriff's Department, that should have been 12,253,998 plus the with the new 422.598 for the 3 deputies and 140.866 for the 1 detective would bring it up to a total of 12,817,443. That total would be. Also, as it relates to, there was a comment that the finance director had made on page 7 of 80. Council has already committed these funds. Yes, we have. I just want to make sure that those funds stay in a restricted account 101-756-971.001. And as it relates to the new position, I would love to see, and if that was with the new council one, I'm not trying to put anything on council, but I think that should be a community liaison person for our council, new council members, where they could be able to have a web page stating, going out, explaining what the Pontiac City Council does to promote them. I think they need something to be able to promote what they do in the communities and what they do in their district. And I think that's what that person would be, something like an IT, a communications person. And then.
So what was that amount, Councilwoman?
What's the amount? I would say 55 to 60, Mr. President.
Yes.
Yes.
I said, what was that amount that you put in? Because what we have on the paper is different, so.
Oh, I know. That's why I just stated when I said it should have been 278,350 plus 55,000. So we would have a total of 333,350, and guess whatever the 3% raises would be. And also I stated the 3% raises, I would state that would be current city employees, that 3% raise. And also in youth rec 208-756-636-674. I think that should be put in restricted funds until, we get a new place. That was for the 86,000 we had for transportation. I think that should be restricted funds. So whenever we get our own facility and we want, or if we should choose to, when we go to the soccer arena and we want to transport our children, that should be in restricted funds. Other than that, Mr. President, I think that will do for me. I'll look at my notes. If somebody else has something else to say, then I'm gonna look through my notes again, but thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Councilwoman Miller, you were going to check with the courthouse. Is everything good? Councilwoman Miller, did you hear me?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yes, Perez, everything is fine. I did speak with her over the weekend and everything seemed to be okay in the budget, so we can proceed on. I do have a comment though, Perez, on the budget, on the other parts of the budget. I know I keep hearing, saying that, the prior council, the council that's coming forth, which we don't know who that's going to be, that's up to the citizens and all that good stuff. But I think putting things in and setting it up for them, I think that should be on them. I think I don't think you're giving the new council, whoever's coming, any credit that they're going to be smart and know how to do this budget and how to put things in order and how, because we've been doing it this way for the last 4 years, 8, 12 years. Let them come in and fix it. They'll fix it. That's why they're going to hire new people. So that's just my comment. I just felt to say that today because, I'm getting comments that, it looks like maybe the people that's coming don't have any brains or they don't know nothing about a budget. Maybe surprise. And I think that's not fair to a person that's running. And that's all I want to share. Hey, Mr. President.
Okay, Councilwoman Peeler.
No comments.
Okay, Attorney Sharp.
I just wanted to clarify, I guess, and bring to the attention just to see where this is obviously council's decision in terms of all of the youth rec expenses that didn't, I think Councilwoman Waterman had mentioned them, but they're still in the budget as it relates to all of the facility expenses, such as like the janitorial supplies. I mean, it's a whole list, 208-756-77-601, maintenance supplies, equipment supplies, snow removal, pavement marking, utility, electricity, water, heat, ground maintenance. I mean, right now, all of that stuff is still in the budget. It hasn't been removed. So that's, of the council. But again, if you don't have a facility, I'm not sure why you would put those things in the budget. And it starts with 208-756-7, well, actually 776-001, and it goes to 208-756-931-001. Quite a bit of money. Like water, for example, is $28,243. Well, if you don't have a facility, why would you put $28,000 in the budget? In addition to the fact that some of these costs are more in what was recommended this year than the prior year. So it just doesn't seems kind of nonsensical to me. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I might.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Waterman.
Okay, what you're speaking of, Attorney Sharp, those are the things that I had taken out and they kept them in the budget. Is that correct? Is that what you're speaking?
Yes, they're
Okay.
still in there. All of those expenses are still in the budget. And some of them, again, like I said, what are recommended are more than what you actually spent last year. And I just don't understand why you would do that for utilities and water and so forth. Thank you. So
Mr.
is that the
Carrington,
desire of council to leave that, or is it the desire to remove it, I guess is the question.
I thought we removed it is where I'm at. Mr.
Me
Carrington?
too.
And it's page 55 of 80, in case you want to reference it.
Mr. Doyle, you have to make Mr. Carrington a panelist.
Okay, I'm in. Sorry, I've been, I went to the other link there, but I'm in now. And I did hear the comments. We certainly made every attempt to try and capture Councilman Waterman's and the council's changes. And I think the comment was in regards to the youth recreation. And it's just, it was just something I did not have that particular list of items in my notes for revisions. So it's certainly something I can make sure I get corrected on my end. But it wasn't anything I had in my notes.
Mr. President, I guess my question, since Mr. Carrington is on the line. Mr. Carrington, I guess my question to you is, this is again, just like part of the budget. It's not the entire budget with the ordinance, with the schedules, with any of that. And I'm just wondering, are you intention for council to, agree to a portion? Because obviously you can't agree to the entire budget, even if they were all in agreement today, because they don't have it.
Yeah, well, I do have the ordinance. I can send that around right now. And this
Have the entire. That what I'm saying is we don't have the entire.
and depending upon the numbers. I mean, I can update them as based on what we have, but that's kind of a function of the numbers.
No. What I'm saying is, again, council can't approve the entire budget because they don't have the entire budget in its entirety, the whole format. Usually when they pass it, they pass the entire format again. I mean, they don't have it. And so I guess, and then the questions that were posed to you last week, did you provide the answers for them for today?
These were that information was included in the revisions and the update. I think I captured everything, or at least I attempted to capture everything, Council.
The responses that were asked, like, okay.
One of the major questions, Mr. Carrington, was about the additional sheriff deputies and what that entailed. And I didn't see any response to that from your office.
And so I did include an update, but I can provide a full response. We did include the number of deputies that council had indicated at the meeting last week, and that was the number that was included, and I did note that within the budget. But if you'd like a separate response, I can certainly do that. But I included within the budget that we sent, there were notes where we did provide some responses to many of these revisions that were included.
Councilwoman Sharansky?
Yeah, I have asked several times for the contract for government for the cemetery. And I also asked him to break down those positions because I'm trying to figure out, is that just DPW support staff? And what exactly are we paying Covenant and what exactly for? And their contract expires in January 2022.
Mr. Carrington,
Yes.
could you respond to Councilwoman Sharamsky's
Okay, I'm
question?
sorry. I didn't catch a question there. I'm sorry. I didn't know she was directing that to me. I couldn't hear her for a response.
Okay, well, I asked several weeks ago for the contract for Covenant, because I know it's up in January 2022.
Right.
And last week I was asking you about the amounts that were shown in the budget. What percentage of that was for DPW? And what percentage was for Covenant services? And what exactly is Covenant doing?
And help me, what page are you looking at, Councilwoman?
Let's see, where is it on this format?
I'll just say,
Oh, sweet.
Okay, that's going to be on page 39 of 80, 38, 39 of 80 for the document that was sent to council on Friday. Is where we start. It's under the Fund 209. And so, as you'll see noted there, Councilwoman, the salaries there are that's the allocation. All of that's going to be for DPW. None of that reflects any funds for Covenant.
Okay, let's see. Okay, but where is that? I saw it.
So page 39 of 80, and it's going to be 209 273 702 000 that's the DPW salary and wages.
This is not what I'm seeing. Just hold on. That is not what I'm seeing on that page. I must have the wrong thing. This is the one you just sent, correct? Because I don't
Correct.
see it.
So it should be under Fund 209,
Yeah,
273-702-000, salaries and wages, a total of,
and but I don't see the line that I saw before. That's what I see that. I'm looking for the other line that I saw before.
and which line was that?
It was a line for covenant. There was yeah, I don't see. Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's down,
I
Councilwoman.
see it. I see it. It ends with 002. It's
Oh, yes.
209. Okay. What are we paying them for? I mean, what is it exactly they're doing if we're paying DPW?
So the covenant handles the operations of the cemeteries. DPW does have some responsibilities over there in terms of, I believe they're doing some maintenance work throughout the year over there. And so that's the reason for the allocation of some of the DPW salaries. The operations of the cemeteries is what covenant does under that contract.
Okay, is there a person attached to these services from Covenant?
I will have to have the department weigh in on that. You want the kind of the representative from Covenant?
Well, I'm just wondering if they're supposed to be managing, who do they ever have on site? What exactly are their services that they're giving us? And is there a person behind these numbers? And the reason I'm asking is because everyone is very displeased. And I just wonder if we're including this in the budget, are we including this generically for some other service that might come in? You know, like as a placeholder, because obviously their contract expires in January, and I truly hope it's not renewed. So I'm just trying to get an idea of how much we should be putting in there for the cemetery for someone else or them if someone chooses them.
Okay. Let me, I'll communicate with the department once we're done with this hearing and get that information.
Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Sharp. And
Yeah, I was just trying to look to see.
y'all
Yeah,
gotta forgive me. I'm trying to look
101,
at. Yep, go ahead.
101, 101, 804, 000, legal services. This is for counsel. Mr. Carrington, I think you have 272,000 for the proposed budget. Isn't that supposed to be 180? Or did you change that, Council President? I'm not sure.
I believe I changed that.
Okay, you changed that. Okay, never mind. Scratch it. Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead.
I think I'd spoken to Mr. Carrington, and I think he had mentioned that there was like a discrepancy with the number I believe Councilwoman Waterman may have given as it related to salaries and wages, 101-206-702-000. And so I had indicated that during this time, there needed to be some clarification as to, I guess, what those positions were inclusive of. So because I see that there is a change on here for 402-987. So Mr. Carrington, if you can just, I guess, let the council know what positions are included under salaries and wages. Thank you.
Sure.
The intention, I think, was to take the deputy out, but if you can just include, let the council know what positions are included since they don't have the personnel sheet.
Yes. And I can send around that personnel sheet. I was having to make some updates through the weekend just to get all the names and everything updated. So we did remove the deputy director position that was proposed. So the positions that are included in that number are the same ones that were in this current fiscal year. Namely, that's going to be the director. So it's going to be the director, contract compliance grant writer, payables and receivables, senior financial analyst, and purchasing specialist. So we have the same positions that are currently in this fiscal year's budget. We just we deleted, as indicated by Councilman Waterman, that deputy director position, and we then added the 3% as we were directed to, and that was the number that we included in the budget packet for council. So there was a discrepancy between, I think, the calculations, but we did only stick with the existing positions and at the rate and raise that had been indicated last week during the hearing.
I think in that, I'm just trying to be clear. I think in the calculation, it was like a 7% in there, but based off of what Councilwoman Waterman was proposing with the 3% across the board for current employees. So that wouldn't have anything to do with the unfilled position, right? With the 3%, let alone 7.
No, because we were simply going off of budgeted. So whether, anything was unfilled during part of the year, which could impact on the activity, we went off the budgeted amounts.
Okay, thanks.
And we did not, the update does not have that 7%. We did, for these positions, they all reflected 3% increase.
Hold on, for clarity, Mr. Carrington, am I muted? Okay, great. For clarity, Mr. Carrington, I'm looking at the vacant HR positions on the sheet you just gave us. That includes a 3% for them also, even if they're not here.
Yes.
So yes, it's 3% for every city employee, regardless if they're vacant or not.
Yeah. So just to be clear, so the sheet that you're looking at, Council President, we added 3% to any existing position. As you pointed out, the HR positions were vacant. We did add the 3% to those positions. So any budgeted positions we add 3%, an increase of 3%. What I was referring to with Attorney Sharp's, the response to Attorney Sharp was specifically regarding the calculations for the salaries general ledger account that we worked up for some of the departments. And that did not include a 7% increase. I had referenced vacancies and the impact that they could have on the year-to-date activity for the current fiscal year, but that we did not, take that into effect. But to your question, Council President, essentially any existing position, we did add a 3% increase to that for the few positions that were vacant, we still added that 3% increase so that that money would be available for next fiscal year. The 3% was not added for any position that may have been requested and was still included. Those were the only areas where we did not add a 3%. And that was just based on my understanding of what had been discussed up until this point.
So to clarify on that, council, I guess, would have to, based off of Councilwoman Waterman's suggestion, decide whether or not they want to agree with her 3% for current employees, or whether or not they want to do the 3% across the board for any position. I guess sounds like that's the issue that they have to resolve.
Yeah, and
because you're saying you put it for any position, and she said that she suggested that it was just for current positions. So they need to resolve that issue of how they want to proceed with that.
Okay, so current positions meaning, current positions that are already on within the budget, or you
current
are
employees,
current positions that are occupied?
She said current employees, so they would have to be employed. So regardless if it's a position, employees, current employees. That's what I heard her say. She can correct me if I'm wrong. Councilwoman Waterman, what was your intention of that?
Employees.
Thank you.
Okay, and I can certainly, because there's only a couple, as Council President pointed out, the two major vacancies are within the human resources, so I can certainly adjust that as needed.
Okay, Councilwoman
I can-
Peatler had her hand up.
Can speak to that, Council President.
Yeah, hold on. Let me recognize Councilwoman Peatler, then I'll recognize you, Madam Mayor.
Mr. President, my hand is down. I had it up for a question to Megan. It's
okay.
over and done with. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mayor Waterman.
Yes, I heard the discussion. I'm trying to listen mostly by phone so that I can, my internet is a little unstable today. But at any rate, the conversation was going on that Mr. Carrington was trying to explain what we're doing by the raises. And I see we're trying to bring our raises more in level with comparative wages and salaries across other municipalities. As you know, from the people who have left to get much higher salaries in other places for similar positions, that we are behind. And we're just trying to gradually, by increments, increase that. So our people who work are just as skilled and talented and who do as good a job should be able to be benefited numerically by that monetarily. So I had recommended a 7% across the board to jumpstart that wage, which was more comparative. Council cut it down to 3%. Okay. But the 3% is for the job description itself, to bring it up. And our policy within, at least my policy within administration, is that the increases are given to employees who've been here 6 months to a year. And so anybody new coming in would have that as a salary cap, could work toward that. But we generally start the new people out at the lower edge of the range and let them get the merit or the longevity increases, given the fact we have this additional range to be able to offer them that. That's the thinking that we have, and Mr. Carrington was trying to explain. Oh yes, I do say 3% because the 3% increase goes with the job description itself. Although administratively, that's what we do, is we administer human resource. And so we don't give everybody coming in the door that same raise that people who've been here and had longevity.
I'm confused. If you're not rewarding people that are not here, then why would they also get the 3% raise? If you're making, hold on, let me finish my statement. If you're making the wages competitive and that's why you're doing it, that's one thing.
Right.
What I'm saying to you is the employees who have been here, let's say 2 years or 3 years, who are now getting a raise are getting the same raises that the people who are coming in the door are getting in a new position.
Yeah. So the people who've had longevity here, we want to give them some room to increase their salaries for their loyalty. All right. So that's why we wanted to give raises, and that's common across the industry. You give people raises for not only merit, but also for loyalty and longevity. That's standard, and we should do that here too. But if somebody just walked in the door, we don't give them that raise right away. We give them a chance to work into it. So by doing the 3% for the we want to know whether we want to put on the vacant positions. Yes, we do, because we want to have the opportunity as these people come in and have some longevity and have some tenure, also to give them that standard upgrade in terms of their salary that we had given the other people who have been here for at least a year, some 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. So they're just behind. The people who've been here for a long time are just behind in terms of the pay raises, because Pontiac pay raises, for one reason or another, have been behind industry standards and behind municipal standards, as we're seeing as we compare what we're going. That's why we're losing staff. We're losing very talented staff. Deputy Mayor, and I point that out, when she left here, she had offers to go places where the starting salary for her was $50,000 more here in Pontiac. So that's a no-brainer. I can get people interested, and they're happy to serve the city of Pontiac. At some point, it becomes a monetary decision for them.
Okay, go ahead, Attorney Sharp.
Oh, I don't have anything. Let me lower my hand. I apologize.
Okay. Somebody type in the chat, can they speak? I don't know who that is. It says unknown.
That will be me. I'm sorry. I'm thinking you know the.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilwoman Miller.
Okay. Several comments I want to make, and maybe some questions for Mr. Carrington. First of all, Mr. Carrington, if you're available, and it's no disrespect, but it is business. From the day we started the budget meeting, I feel we just as far as we were the first day we started. The things that we ask you, we don't ask for this because we're sitting here. Like Ms. Ramsey asked you a question about the cemetery last week. I asked you some questions about the police officers. Those are important questions. So when you come back to the meetings, you should be ready for us and ready to answer. I'm no farther than when I was with when we started with you 2 weeks ago, prior to when we said we were going to meet today. The police officer, I'm a little confused. I'm not understanding. How many officers are we bringing on board? How much is it going to cost? Just really relative, straightforward questions for me. And as for the 3% current position, 3%. Okay, that's definitely for the current employee. That's not for someone. When you get hired into a job, you don't get a raise when you come in. You earn a raise. It's no such thing as that. There are people been here when I was there. Those are the people that should be getting getting the price increase every year, raise increase every year, if it's acceptable, or whatever that is, up to that, whatever that council or body is. Because right now, we can't put ourselves with other municipalities because City of Pontiac is coming out of receivership. We don't have that. We got neighborhoods that can't even get their streets plowed in the winter because we don't have the money. We can't afford it. We would love to do it, but I'm not going to give anyone that's just started a job, you give a raise. It's actually the way you said it was kind of like political. You're going to reward them for being good. They're here to do a service for the community. We serve people. We don't serve ourselves, so it's a blessing to have the job. So to come in and making that kind of money, no. When you offer the job, you know what it is. You accept it or you don't. It's just the way it is. But there has been employees here for years hasn't had a raise, fought through all the hardship and the receivership. Those employees should be rewarded because they went without nothing. But new ones and current ones, no, that doesn't make any sense. And as I stated, also the question hasn't been answered in regards to, like I stated to Mr. Kennedy, if you would answer that for me while I'm on here, what employees are exactly, what is the police department going to entail? Because this is hot topic to me on the streets. They're telling me out here with it. What are the officers coming to do? Are we going to have a patrol officer for traffic? Are we going to have someone for the neighborhoods? Like I was watching on the weekend for Detroit, where they're really walking the streets. We need that in the city of Pontiac, but we can't maybe afford everything. So could you please explain to me, how many officers is entailed and what will be the budget for the police officers of the city of Pontiac? That's what they want to hear. Thank you, Mr. Karen. If you can answer that for me.
Okay. So, and I mean, you made several comments. One is on regarding the police officers. One is regarding the salaries, kind of the across the board salaries. And I do want to speak to all of that. First, on the police officers, I don't want to, and I can't, pretend to be able to speak operationally. I think Captain Ewing obviously is the best person. Some communication was provided about that. What I wanted to do is to clarify what was and what currently is in the budget as proposed. We did include that traffic unit that had been discussed. My understanding is that obviously that those particular additional deputies are going to be utilized in a very specific way in terms of enforcement of traffic and I believe a way station function. But again, Captain Ewing is the person who can speak to that. And I thought in the communication he provided some insight as to how he would utilize those additional deputies. I know there was some discussion and a desire for having more resources directed towards the neighborhoods, if you will. And I believe Captain Ewing was speaking in response to that and his ability and his department's ability to try and meet that desire.
But Mr. Carrington, my question to you though is, okay, that is very true. But the last proposal that we received from Mr. Ewing and their department, I don't have the sheet before me, but I know it was 11. It was 11 individuals. In that particular document that we received, what do we have in the budget as far as that? Those numbers. How many officers are we going right currently now that you have in the budget? Is any of those officers other than the traffic unit?
I'm speaking to
you, but there are other people listening to you. I'm speaking to you, but others are listening. They want to understand, and I'm just trying to get you to understand what I'm saying. What is inclusive of the officers? Okay, you said the traffic unit. Yes, I did receive, but I want the people to hear because there are people that understand. How many people are going to be on? How many officers are going to do the traffic unit? And I know that Mr. Ewing had mentioned about the neighborhoods. So those 11 additional people. Is that, first of all, you didn't clarify last week. Was it 11 additional? Because that's the way I read it. 11 additional, not inclusive of Waterman and stated the 8. So if you could start with that would be helpful for me.
Yeah. So from the council hearing, when I had indicated that there were monies already in the budget, the feedback from council was that they did not want to put any additional money. So we did not fund the entire 11 positions that were in the most recent communication from Captain Ewing. That was, again, done based on my understanding of what council had indicated. What I was attempting to do here was to try and have the numbers consistent with what had been discussed in the mayor's recommended budget. There were some things that were proposed. And council had communicated some follow-ups. I think there was a point of confusion after Captain Ewing had provided that 11 additional deputies, which did include the traffic unit. When you look at the numbers that are in the budget, it's the deputies for the traffic unit, along with some additional deputies. I believe it was 4 additional deputies and a detective. And again, some of this is going to be dependent upon how Captain Ewing chooses to utilize that or how he proposes to utilize that. But those were the numbers that were included and are in the budget. Is not for the entire 11 deputies as have been suggested. I think that was kind of the high watermark number. It was the traffic unit along with four additional resources to provide 4 additional deputies. And from the conversations with Captain Ewing, I think he was looking to have those resources directed towards the neighborhoods.
Thank you. And as for the current position, you said you want to make a comment on that? Do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I certainly understand the comments about making sure we properly compensate and reward the existing employees. Just in terms of, I think there's a couple of things when I included the amounts for positions that may be vacant. One, we want to make sure that a vacant position does not fall behind in terms of having the necessary compensation. For example, we do have a director's position that is vacant. I included the 3% raise in that position because we want to make sure that we can continue to have the necessary funding available, as well as, if we don't provide a raise for that vacant position that, I think everyone expects and understands needs to be filled. Then you have others that report to there, and it becomes, you start to lose some of the necessary separation with the salaries, as well as with other directors throughout the department. And then there's some other positions that, there are multiple individuals that do occupy those positions, and we want to be able to have, budgeted dollars available in order that if the department needs to hire individuals and they not be coming in or being paid at a salary that's too far or that is behind other positions in there, just to provide the necessary flexibility. So, again, when I included those raises to those positions, it was not meant at all to try and not understand the necessary to, again, compensate and reward the employees. I fully understand what council is saying, and I'm in agreement with that. But again, there's a other dynamics that are involved here, and just trying to balance all those things.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. That'll be it for now.
Councilwoman Waterman. And then Councilwoman Sharamsky.
No, you could take Councilwoman Sharamsky. I'm writing something down right now, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I apologize. I now understood what I did. Remember last week, I didn't get to print this out. My printer wasn't working. So what I had done, instead of writing the cemetery fund down 209, I was doing them individually. And Oak Hill is 276 and Ottawa Park is 273. And I see it's quite a lesser amount from Covenant for Ottawa Park than it is for Oak Hill. But my point in all this is, who are we hiring? Who is doing the actual burials? Who is supervising them? Who is supervising the stones when they are put on their foundations? I'm just thinking, if DPW is doing all this work, what do we need Covenant for? Could we not bring in our own person who is qualified to do this, is what I'm getting at. Because it seems to me our big trouble started when we started having these outside services. This one is marginally better than the one we had before. They were awful. My own father's tombstone sat on shims for 2 months until I raised holy heck. They're breaking stones out there. They're not seeding the graves. They're just leaving big dirt mounds. They're not doing what the cemetery has asked. And it seems like DPW is ending up doing all this. So that was my point in my questions. And again, I apologize. I was just looking at the individual numbers, not the cemetery funds. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Waterman, are you ready now?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As we were stating here, back to these current employees, I worked for the city for many years. You have to earn your increases. And I'm not going to go a lot. I mean, if you put something out stating that the salary is $65,000, if they can't come in for $65,000, then you look for somebody else. I'm not going to go along with awarding people who have not worked into the city. it's current employees, and that's where I'm sticking my guns with. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Carrington, if you can go to page 13 of 80 and what you sent us, talking about the transfer into the TIFs and the deficit.
I'm sorry, you said page 13 of 8?
13 of 80.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, if you can explain 101,966,999 .09 209, I mean.
So what those transfers out are, those are to different funds outside of the general fund. The general fund will have kind of a responsibility to make sure that those funds are indeed not in deficit. And so those transfer out are designed specifically to address that. So with some of those separate funds, if the budget in those separate funds are not sufficient, then essentially we have a situation where the general fund is having to subsidize. So that's
so what are those three funds?
Let me just,
because we used to get a fund sheet that went with our budget so we could follow along. So and I know you just got here, but that's what we used to have. So it used to kind of be spelled out what those were and not just put in the book.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that for me?
Yep, it's fund. We used to have a fund sheet that would say what funds were that was included in the budget.
Okay, so I know 276 is that's the court fund, and I believe that's a regular. I'm sure the city's been I know in looking at it for the last several years, and I assume that's a regular transfer out. And then Fund 585. So in response to your question, Council President, for the court fund, they obviously have some revenues that they generate, but the subsidy from the city is going to be used to, again, fund the gap in the appropriations, because the revenues, those fines and everything don't currently cover those expenses. So that transfer out for Fund 276 is what's needed to maintain the budget of that particular fund.
What's fund 209?
I have to look that one up. I'm not recalling that one offhand.
Fund 209. What is that?
209 is the cemetery. So yeah, 209 the cemetery, 276 is the court.
585 is the parking, right?
That one I'm not recalling. I'll have to pull that one. I don't recall that offhand. But yeah, I believe that's correct. But there's no current appropriation in that for that particular account or fund.
Okay, does anybody else have questions?
President.
Yes, go ahead, Attorney Sharp.
So, what's the updated budgeted position that was emailed to everybody? Mr. Carrington,
Yes.
strike through on here
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Can you say that again for me?
with the strike throughs. So this is the updated list, but you have strike throughs on them.
I'm not following. What are you referring to?
The updated position list
Uh-huh.
that was just sent, correct?
Yes.
You have strike throughs on them. Lines on the salaries in some certain areas.
Okay, no, I thought the list had the salaries, the increase and increase by what the increased salary would be and the increased dollar amounts.
That's correct, but some of them have lines through them.
Okay, so I wasn't following.
So
you.
I'm trying to understand. So like if you look at finance, so you have your contract compliance grant writer. There's a salary, but then there's a line through the salary with 3%. So is that something that you just did? Because based off of what we were saying I'm just trying to understand, is this comprehensive? Like even your HR assistant, CSR HR is vacant. So have a salary with 3% increase that has a line through it, but yet increase in dollar amount is $9,162.50. So that's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay, I don't.
Not making sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the same strike throughs that you're seeing.
Either. Excuse me, Mr. President, because I'm not seeing what Attorney Sharp, I see the page that the city clerk sent us. I haven't received anything from Mr. Carrington.
That's why I asked, was it from Mr. Carrington?
Oh, no, the one that we got, it came from the clerk.
Which I sent the document to the clerk if that's the same document.
Right,
No,
revision
he just
to
sent
position
a
list?
brand new one.
Hmm?
Mr.
Yes.
Carrington just sent a brand new one while we were at this meeting.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I didn't receive that. I just have the one from council, from the clerk, and that's what I was looking at.
I'm looking at revision to position list, which was sent at 11:21.
Did not receive it.
Yep, you
That's
gotta
what I'm
refresh your
referring
computer.
to.
Okay.
Because it doesn't, I'm not understanding it. That's the reason.
Yep.
You understand, Council President, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. So, but everybody has to look at the sheet. So
Yes.
this is the personnel list from the finance director that was sent from Garland at 10:25.
I got it at 11:21, but okay.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I'm saying. So
Excuse me, Mr. President. Okay. From the interim clerk, we received
Okay,
something
never
from
mind.
1024, correct? Is that what I'm looking at?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. So this is just say this is the final budgeted position. So we'll just take it from there. These are the final budgeted positions to be included in the budget, correct?
Yeah, so that
Okay.
sheet that I shared with the clerk,
Okay.
I did a couple of things. One, I made sure we took out the positions that council had indicated they did not intend to fund.
Okay.
I tried to, per council president's request, I tried to make sure that the names were accurate. So updated so that the names that were listed were accurate. Then I had under current salary, which is the third column, I had the salary for the current fiscal year. Then we had a salary, the next column is salary with 3% increase. And so for those positions where we were adding the increase, we listed what the salary would be, the increased salary, what that would be. And then the next column, the final column, has increase in dollars. So showing how much the increase would be from a dollar standpoint. Additionally, we had some new positions that were added in there, and those were reflected in that it should be a 6-page document that everyone has received.
Yep, it's 6 pages. But I guess, again, my question, just like, let's take this one for example again. The HR assistant, CSR HR vacant, the current salary is $47,487.50. The salary with the 3% was going to be, this has $56,650, but yet increase in dollars $9,000. That's a 3% increase. $9,162.50.
Okay, yep. So with that one, in that position, I had initially requested an increase in that budgeted position. That is a separate one. Let me just.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. This is going to have to all be revised. Like, it seems like it's kind of across the board. This is just, I don't know.
But that's really the only position. Everything else is going to, we have 2 categories. We have new positions. There were a few positions that I did add into the clerk's office, and I just added those. There's no current salary listed for those. And then there were some positions that were not eligible for the salary increase, namely the elected officials positions. I did have some of the positions that were vacant, did include the 3% salary, and that can be adjusted per council's direction. But that one position that you pointed out, that was the only position, and again, it was a vacant position where prior to the budget discussions, was needing to look at increasing the salary, and that's the only one that was done like that. I did not catch that, but that had been done prior to us having these budget deliberations.
Okay, for the election clerk specialist, right? She's listed there, and she's listed under clerk specialist. Is her salary just split in half?
No, yeah. So it's split between those 2 positions. So the actual salary would be the combination of those 2 positions.
Okay, because you got
to 2 different departments.
Okay, so you got it under the salary with the increased 3% is what it's listed under. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah. So because the salary and I mean that salary 3% increase is not 100% accurate for purposes of everyone. Basically, it's the FY22. That column is going to reflect what everyone is being charged for budget purposes for FY22. The majority of these are going to be reflecting a 3% increase. But in cases where we have a new position, it's not that description does not apply. What everyone is listed in that column, it reflects the proposed fiscal year 2022 salary and budget number. And that's, so, the new positions are going to be a little bit different, but I didn't have, obviously I didn't break everything out. I was trying to have one comprehensive list.
Okay, Mr. Carrington, can you do this to make it, I guess, simpler for me to understand?
Mm-hmm.
I hear Councilwoman Waterman's request, which is the 3% only goes to current city employees, right?
Right.
And then if you can put in what the current salary was budgeted last year for all the other positions, I think will be helpful. So that way we would have a clear understanding of what we've already approved as salaries.
That's listed in the current salary column.
No, what listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Carrington. This is with an increase to everybody's salary, if they're here or not here. So
Right.
that is what you guys hope to pay people in the new fiscal year. That's not what the council is asking for. The council is asking for a 3% raise for all current city employees. If they are not yet employees, they have no entitlement. And so what would be helpful is to have what is currently budgeted for those positions, not with what you guys hope will be budgeted for those positions.
Sure, yeah. No, I certainly know we need to revise it based on the comments that were done this morning. So yeah, no, I certainly will. So that column, that's the salary with 3% increase, is going to be the fiscal year 22. Some of those are going to have increases. The ones that are vacant will not. Those positions will not reflect an increase. So yeah, as well as we're going to have we have the new positions in there. Not everything is going to reflect a 3% increase as that column currently describes, but it will be a mix of new positions, vacant positions that are not seeing an increase, and then the current positions that are filled, the positions that are filled, and the 3% increase that has been discussed. So I'll make that update.
Council President.
Yes, go ahead, Attorney Sherrill.
For clarification, Mr. Carrington, 101-458-702-000, that's page 29 of 80.
Okay.
So I see 471-800. You're saying that's with the 3%, but wasn't the proposed change 220 and then with 3% of that?
So the issue, and I tried to explain that in the note. The issue was that because with DPW we allocate a number of those salaries, and the 220 number, similar to when I made the comments about the finance department. The 220 number did not take into consideration the allocation that we're using. So the calculation that is presented here and the number that is presented here, I attempted to try and add the requested salary increase along with the correct allocation as we're using it. The prior number just did not capture that the way in which we budget for and have been budgeting for that salary. So that's the rationale and the reasoning for what appears to be a discrepancy, which really isn't. It's just we oftentimes we do these allocations at the end of the year, and it's somewhat of a challenge to try and fully capture that or understand what's going on there. Simply, if you just simply look at the year-to-date activity, is not going to always properly reflect those allocations.
Just to clarify, that's why council, when they did the budget format and they took time last year and they revised the ordinance with the budget format, when you were a little confused as to why it was suggested that you give all the employees for those various departments, this is why. This is an example as to why, because we knew that, or council was aware of the fact that they were getting paid out of different buckets or different accounts. But to be clear, that is why they requested the information they requested. But it must have been a disconnect as to, I don't know, but that is exactly why. Thank you.
Yeah, if you can break that down, Mr. Carrington, on what is being paid out of that fund, what employees?
Will do. I've got that number for you. I can get that.
Because the problem is, and I'm trying to find it in the old budget, we're paying a lot of money in engineering costs all the way throughout the budget, yet and still we don't have an engineer. So those things are,
Well, we do have an engineer. We do have an
Abdul
engineer.
Siddiqui. Abdul Siddiqui is your engineer.
what I'm saying to you is we're booking that salary and additional professional services to the tune of $1 million. So just trying to figure out how we're allocating or coming up with these figures for what we're using.
Okay, and you know, I think those are a couple of things. One is the allocation of those salaries and how that's spread across the departments. But then we also have some additional engineering services that are provided related to the building department revenues, and those are not specifically tied to our in-house engineer. You know, we do have outside firms that will provide those services on a as needed basis based upon the permits and inspections and everything.
Okay, anybody else got questions? Because I'm looking at the budget, so I can't see hands.
Mr. President, I just got a brief question on Mr. Carrington. He can answer you. The money that we put in for the animal control, where are we going to put that in the new budget? And where would the animal control person, what department would it go to? Have we decided that yet?
Mr. President, if I could answer that for Councilwoman Miller.
Yeah, go
Councilwoman
ahead.
Miller, we kept it in our budget.
We kept it in ours, okay.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Okay, Mr. Carrington, has the youth recreation millage, the budget been changed to reflect the decrease in amount of taxes captured?
I don't believe we have fully.
208-000-403-000 shows the 518-305. Is that not correct?
What page you on, Attorney Sharp?
I just have the number. I have to see, but it's 208-000-403-000. So it reflects the decrease unless I'm looking at it incorrectly. So that would be page 3, Mr. Carrington. It shows the millage cut.
Yeah, and so it's also on page 53 of 80.
That's what I said, 53 of 80.
Oh, 53, okay, I couldn't hear you there.
Yes.
And so, Council President, to your question, I know we did make a number of reductions in the rec and youth budget. You know, and the total of all those changes, I don't know. I don't know that exact number offhand. But we have been, obviously working to try and make sure that the budget and the operational plan is consistent with what the revenue is expected to be for next fiscal year. So that's, that number's already been voted on and been locked in.
Okay, while we're on that page, what's the salary and wages for the recreation facility?
What are you referring to?
What is it? 208-756-702-000.
Yeah, so that's just going to be for that department. employees under that department. That facility is not, it's not anything specific to a building. It's just basically employees who are charged to that specific department.
Okay, so if I look at the sheet that you just gave us with the employees, which ones would be charged to that department?
I don't know that particular answer. I mean, I would have to look at how we allocate those specific employees. I don't know offhand. I mean, similar to DPW, how all the employees are allocated and broken down. I kind of look at them as a complete unit.
Okay, and you're gonna have the complete budget to us when, Mr. Carrington?
Yeah, I can certainly get a draft out by the morning.
I
Okay.
believe council has to have this passed by Wednesday. Am I not correct? That's a week before the fiscal year. Mr. Clerk, is that
I
correct?
believe the date, my understanding was the 24th, a week before this, July 1st.
That's correct. No, 1 week before the beginning of the new fiscal year.
It ends on the 30th. Okay.
It's Thursday, it has to be passed by Thursday?
By Thursday.
Right. Okay. So I said the 30th. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, we probably should schedule a special meeting now for Thursday.
I would actually suggest that you probably schedule a special meeting for Wednesday in case anything else needs to be changed, because the budget will have to be finalized by Thursday.
Okay. So what time works best for my colleagues?
Mr. President, so that means we need a meeting for Wednesday and Thursday?
We definitely need one for Wednesday at the least, yes.
I
I'm
guess
not available between 1 and 5, sir.
I guess if
Probably
you
should set them on both days, and if you
schedule-
need to cancel it,
Yeah, right.
you
Right.
can cancel
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
10 o'clock's
Okay.
been working for all of us.
Okay. All right, can we schedule a special budget meeting? Can I get a motion to schedule a special budget meeting for Wednesday, the 23rd at 10 a.m. and Thursday, the 24th at 10 a.m.?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Petula,
Yes.
Gramsci,
Yes.
Taylor Burks,
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yeas, no nays.
Okay.
Mr. President, a point
yes.
of privilege.
Yeah, go
May
ahead.
I don't know if everybody has read their incident reports from last night. And I would just like to ask each and every one of you to please pray for Miss Lynn, who is a 79-year-old resident of the city of Pontiac who has come up missing. She went to the store, Save-A-Lot is where she usually shops, at 10 a.m. and she has not returned home yet. I did talk to the family and I just received a text message from the daughter. She is still not home. So if we could just keep her in prayer, please, I would really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We're going to adjourn this meeting at 11:53.
Mr. President,
No,
Mr. President, wait a minute,
no,
Mr.
no.
President.
You got other items,
There are
Mr.
other, yeah,
President.
that's,
What,
yeah.
what's
And
the
you
other
didn't
items?
approve the agenda.
Okay. Okay. I thought we voted for a budget
No,
meeting.
you
I don't
didn't approve it. No, you got other items on the agenda.
Right.
what's the other items on the agenda? Because I don't have it in front of me. I got the sheets.
We have, Mr. Clerk, the city clerk requested budget. We have report from the city clerk. City of Pontiac position list, I guess we've discussed that already. And the city clerk's proposed changes. And number 6 is probably one important that we probably need to deal with right now before we lose people on city council meeting location for future budget and regular meetings starting.
Because tomorrow, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. President. Tomorrow you have to meet in person.
Why do we
So
have
you
to meet
need,
in person tomorrow, Mr. Clerk?
because the governor has rescinded all of the orders which allow you to meet by Zoom. So it's effective tomorrow. It was going to initially be effective July 1st, but she moved the date up. So tomorrow you actually have an in-person meeting.
Well, are
Okay.
we gonna meet outside? Because the inside is no place to meet.
Yes. My suggestion is
Can I
that
make a suggestion, Mr. President?
they
Can I make a
book the Marriott.
suggestion?
My suggestion is that they book the Marriott for us. That's where they had the redistricting meeting, and they had it social distance, and it was a big enough space in the ballroom not to have any of those conditions. So go ahead, Councilwoman Miller.
Yes, I was gonna say, the same thing, not there, but, in another, place, maybe like, the Bowen Center. I see she opened that up. Maybe you can use that.
Okay.
But I understand the Marriott sounds good to me. I will say this, I'm not going up in City Hall. That's not an option. It's not ready. And we got caught off guard. Unfortunately, the administration got caught off guard, and it's not available for the public or the council members. So I'm inclined to go with anywhere anyone suggests other than City Hall.
I was just thinking though, the Marriott rush hour traffic, that might be rough for me.
What did she say?
The
She said
traffic.
the Marriott
What's up?
rush hour traffic would be rough because of United Shore.
It won't be the first
It's
time
not
we've
gonna
been
be rough
there.
at 8 o'clock. But Mr. President, if we can have Attorney Sharp or the clerk look into how much it would cost for us to go to Marriott, we can't make it tomorrow because they could be booked, but we can go to the Bowen Center, maybe possibly tomorrow, and then further go into the Marriott, because I think the Marriott would be wonderful for us since they sanitize and clean it up at all times.
Well, also, Waterman, we got to post that, right? So the citizens know
Yeah.
that we are out in public, so we got to have so much time.
Yeah.
So I guess
Right.
we kind of got to get on it right away because
Yeah,
we don't
right
want no
now.
one saying we didn't know. We didn't know you were leaving.
Yeah. Like right now.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of sticking.
Okay. Hey, Waterman, is the Bowen Center available? Or did she leave?
Oh, the mayor actually is in the clerk's office, so I can ask her. If you hold on.
Please.
Is the mayor still here? She just asked her is the Bowen Center available for the city council meeting?
Council, I just want to say going forward in terms of the city council chambers, it was my understanding that initially that, the ventilation system was going to be cleaned. And so now that's off the table. So it hasn't even been prepped. So I think that even if you have find an alternate location, you really, really, really need to get those chambers together because they still haven't been cleaned. And I don't think district court has been cleaned either. I don't even know about the Bowen Center, but so that has not happened.
Sure. What number? 53. I hear you. I don't see your number listed on attendees. I know.
Just ask her if the Bowen Center is good or not, then we can move on to the next item.
So the problem with the Marriott, the Bowen Center, is you have to have broadcast capabilities. We wouldn't have it at the Marriott. We're not set up to do that. We're set up to do it at the Bowen Center.
What?
You can let them know.
Take the meter off. I can't figure. I see your name.
So the Bowen Center must be out off the table.
Hey, gotcha. Yeah.
I'm logged in on the Zoom panelist, but I'm logged in here as a participant.
Yeah, but I don't see your number as a participant.
I'm talking to you right now.
I know, but I'm saying it's not. I see 248-705-5316. Okay. So the mayor says that you have to have broadcast.
We don't have to, but we won't have it at the Marriott.
Oh.
We don't have, it's not set up to do it.
We won't have broadcast capabilities at the Marriott. So the Bowen Center is available for tomorrow's meeting.
What I'm saying to you is, we don't want to continue.
No. The regular meeting. Yes. The regular meeting will be available to be at the Bowen Center tomorrow.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock, yes.
Okay, and
We're
then
not
we
gonna
need.
be standing outside, are we? Waiting for someone to unlock the door.
No, the mayor says that the Bowen Center will be available for tomorrow's meeting at 6 p.m.
Now, the question is, what do we do for future meetings? We got one on next morning at 10. We have do we still conduct these hearings subcommittee on Zoom, or we got to get off of everything? So still got another issue. Where do we go next morning and the next morning?
We have to meet live.
Subcommittees are not public meetings, so they could be by Zoom.
Good.
But the
Okay,
budget meetings would have to be done.
Please let the clerk talk. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Doyle.
The budget meetings would have to be done in person. The ones that you have set for Wednesday, the 23rd, and Thursday, the 24th at 10 a.m. So those would have to be at the Bowen Center.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I'm good with that, Mr. President.
Okay, but we also need to work out for future meetings. I think the Marriott should be the place instead of the Bowen Center. It doesn't have any real good accommodations.
I agree.
So where would we have these budget meetings, being they have to be in person?
At the Bowen Center. We can't do really anything this week, Councilwoman Peterle.
Okay, everything will be at the Bowen Center.
But you know what, Mr.
Yes,
President, after
starting
this
tomorrow.
week,
Thank you.
You can start it with something for the Marriott, and Wadman said we can get broadband over there. Maybe we can get done after this week. We should be able to go to Marriott. I'm with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what should be worked at. So, if we have to pass a resolution or whatever in order to do that, until they can get the council chambers up to standard, then we can go back home. But until then we need to meet at the Marriott. Yeah, or maybe they can get us at the county. They're set up for meetings and they have 30 commissioners and we only have 10 people.
Well, you know, Mr. President, you did say something that is written in ink is better. We may get some accommodation. I think we should have something on the floor tomorrow for 6 to do a resolution, no matter where we go here, because we need a resolution. I mean, let's past experience is telling we need a resolution. Why don't we just pass a resolution stating where we want to go and how we want to do it and get that the focus on it from them. So I would put it on the agenda for tomorrow.
Okay. Next on the agenda was, I guess, the clerk's budget. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this item was included in your packet. There are a number of account numbers that need to be increased or decreased in the clerk's office. Like, for example, in the mayor's recommended budget for part-time staff for election, people come and help us temporarily in the office is only $5,000. Last year, we spent over $52,000 in part-time assistance. So I'm asking for that to be raised to $35,000. And then the other ones are self-explanatory. Mr. Carrington can just make these adjustments and then the council, can vote on them. Is what I'm President, did you?
Yeah, so what's the pleasure of the council?
But let me understand something correctly. If I can hear, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I just want to understand something correctly. Garland, let me understand you correctly. You
Mhm.
currently, last year you had 52,000, now you want to add additional 30,
No,
would you come about 80 some thousand?
no,
or
no, no,
am I
no,
hearing that
ma'am. No, ma'am.
right? Okay,
Councilwoman Warner.
all right,
I'm sorry, Miller. What I said
okay.
was that the mayor in her recommended budget only put $5,000 for part-time
Gotcha,
assistant
okay,
in the clerk's office. I'm requesting $35,000. Last
okay,
year, because the presidential election, I don't anticipate
right.
the voter turnout will be that great, but last year we spent $52,000. And the reason why we were able to do a lot of this was because we had the grant from the Center for Tech and Civic Life. We won't have that grant in the upcoming budget. So after each item that I'm, requesting an adjustment, there's an explanation there for the reason for the adjustment. Like another one is public notices. The mayor only recommended $6,000. I requested $10,000, and for the reason, again, we utilized a number of grant dollars to pay for public notices. We have to post the notice of the election in the paper. We have to post the notice of registration. So we actually spent $9,783. So the amounts that the mayor is recommending are insufficient for what actually we have to.
Mr. President.
Yes, go ahead, Attorney Sharp.
So, Mr. Doyle, I think just to kind of clarify, the numbers you're saying, from my understanding, the numbers are off because of the fact that you had the grant. And because the grant dollars were able to satisfy a lot of things, it allowed your regular budget numbers to be lower. So really, it's not that you're asking for more, it's really what it would have been had you not put the grant dollars in there.
Correct, Attorney Sharp.
So that's kind of like what the issue could be with the rescue money. It's that when you put the money into the budget, it kind of, what I was saying to Mr. Carrington, kind of distorts your real budget because of the fact you really don't know what is really needed and what's not needed. So it appeared to me that because of those grant dollars, it kind of made it look like you're asking for more, but it's really in line with what you had before, the previous budget. Thank you.
Okay. So what is the favor of this council? Do we agree with the clerk's changes or disagree? So we can let Mr. Carrington know.
I have no problem.
I have no problem with it, because he, as he stated, he doesn't have the grant money, so we're gonna give it to him now or later. So just go ahead and implement it in the budget.
Okay, Councilwoman Shramsky?
Yeah, I agree, because I'm the one that was asking those questions a few weeks ago, and I do agree.
Okay, Councilwoman Peterson?
I support it. We need to move forward with the smooth election.
Okay, Councilwoman Doris Taylor Burke?
I do support.
Okay. And Pro Tem Carter is not on. I support it. So Mr. Carrington, if you can make those changes and get with the clerk so we can have those with the draft that you're gonna have out in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, what's next on the agenda, Mr. Clerk?
So Councilwoman Waterman asked for a complete list of all our grant expenditures. So that's included in your packet. Then the following item, we already talked about the position list. And the only other item, the schedule of fees, and I sent out an updated list of the schedule of fees. We're just asking for some fees that we charge into the clerk's office charges for like voter lists and stuff like that, be actually incorporated into the City of Pontiac's official list of fees. So where it can be published with the entire budget, the list of all fees that you have as well. And that's it. You already talked about the meeting location.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for the good and welfare? Okay. Seeing that, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting at 12:08 p.m.
Public comment, see if
Oh,
somebody
Yeah,
got
public.
yeah.
Public comment. Thank you so much.
welcome.
Is there any public comment? Okay, I don't see any public comment. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 12:09 p.m.